Welcome everyone to the Creative Minds podcast. Joining me here today is Henri Lamy. Henry, I'm so excited to have you here. We met a couple of years ago back in Jordan, Wadi Rum specifically, right? And I just like we came across and you showed me more about your art, and then I started following you on Instagram, and I find like the way you express art is so exciting and creative, and I wanted to interview you just to learn more about your story. And if you can start off by just telling us briefly like who you are and what is it that you do.
Yeah, hi Aida, and thanks very much for having me here today. So I'm a painter, artist.
Mhm.
I've always been drawing actually, and I've only been able to call myself an artist, let's say, for the past 13 years that I've chose this career professionally. Um, it's something like even up to date, it's something very rewarding to this status is that sometimes and very often it leads to a marginal point of view because first, I don't know, you look at my hair, but that's only a sign. But then imagine that my whole vision could stand out sometimes towards the standards of society, and being an artist and being fulfilled in what I do
Mm,
is something that helps me accept who I am,
mm,
which the society we live in is not always easy.
mm. 100%. So I think you brought up amazing points. But before I have a lot of questions with regarding to like society standards and being accepted within that. But let's just kind of dive deep into like um your past, like your childhood and how you grew up. Where did that artistic side of you initiate? How did you end up growing in that way and then building it up to eventually call yourself an artist and create art as a profession? So if you can take us
Yeah, yeah,
through
yeah.
your journey. Yeah.
It was first initiated by my grandfather and my father.
Well,
Actually, both of them. I'm talking about my grandfather on my mother's side and my father. Um, and both were practicing this, not on a professional level.
mhm.
Although the two of them initiated me from an early age since I was 3 or 4, I think.
Well,
And I kept doing this all my life. Much later on, I was studying product design, and one of the teachers said that talent doesn't exist. I kind of agreed to it in the sense that I felt the only talent that I had was to spend more time doing this than the rest of the people that I knew, or most of the people that I knew, which gave me an advantage to progress in this field.
mm,
So I kept on drawing my whole life,
mm,
even during my early studies, where my friends would sometimes, funny enough, ask me to draw things for them, and they would give me toys and games. You trade games when you're kids, marbles and stuff. So they would trade those things for my drawings. So I knew that I
mm.
already had something to bargain with in
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
which was cool because I kept on doing it even until before the time that it actually became my real job.
Mm,
I was already exchanging goods with my
mm,
art.
mm.
I got my eye surgery. I told the surgeon, man, I don't have the money to get the surgery, but if you want, I can paint something for you. And he was an art collector and he accepted. So there's lots
Wow.
of deals like that. I also managed to stay at different places. And I hope that it would have been some way for me to, yeah, figure it out. Like
Wow.
I knew that this was something that I wanted to do,
Mm,
and I was already seeing the value of it in the people's mind.
mm,
Only later on appeared that I could make a real job out of it,
mm,
but I had to wait until the moment that I failed most of my professional experiences to really review it more seriously as
mm.
a possibility.
Wow. And when was that moment for you to decide that, you know what, now it's time to be a full-on artist? Like when was that moment for you?
Yeah, that moment was 13 years ago.
Mm.
I had many failures in life, university, because I studied 7 years different fields that I
Oof.
all sucked at,
Uh-huh.
like business, communication,
Mm.
advertising, um, even product design.
Mm.
I studied all these things and I sucked at all of them.
Yeah.
And even the worst is that most of the time I was trying to highlight my gift for drawing and creative fields.
Mm.
But of course, it would never reflect my my inclination towards this field because it was not the right place or the right time. It wasn't the right media to express on.
Mm.
But the cool thing is I kept drawing on the side. Like I kept even having some very little commissions, but still people that like my work.
Mm.
As I was already good at doing portraits, they wanted me
Mm.
to make portraits of their family and stuff. So I would
Mm.
be commissioned €300 to paint a portrait for someone from my cellar,
Mm.
nights and weekends, whenever I had time.
Mhm.
But there came that close step where I've been able to observe my life on one side that went wrong because I was always reflecting an image that didn't appeal to the others.
Mm.
Like I could understand that I wasn't in my right place
Mm.
because I was a failure basically. I'm just being a bit harsh, but that's
Yeah.
uh, for my purpose to be expressed a bit more clearly. And then at the same time, the other painting side kept on growing and growing.
Mm.
But at some point, I had no chance that for my professional life to really take off. Sorry, and this would not happen. Okay, so I failed my diploma. I stopped studying for 7 years until this point that it's funny because at times you see something every day and you don't realize it's going to be important for you. Every day I was crossing this building that's called 59 Rivoli, full
Yeah.
of artists, but it's kind of nebulous. You don't really know what's going on inside until you stepped in. But it was a bit scary because you couldn't give it a name. It was a building. It wasn't really a shop. It wasn't either a gallery nor a museum. Yet you would see artists exhibiting and they have their studios and visitors could enter for free and talk to the artists, see their artworks
Yeah.
exhibited. It was very emulating and interesting. I discovered that and I said to my parents, okay, I'm going to have to go there. But now I wasn't able to be supported anymore because I finished my study. I was already lucky enough to have been
Mm.
supported the whole time. I stayed there for 6 months. I had my studio, and every day would have from 10 to 50 new visitors coming
Mm.
to the building. And
Yeah.
out of those 10 to 50, I managed to make, I don't know, one, two, three sales in these 6 months. It's really been an effort, but I've managed to do it, like trying
Mm.
to put myself as attractive as possible,
Mm.
trying to really see what could catch customers'
Mm.
eye in my work.
Yeah. And
And
how how do
it
you come by to create the art? Like what goes on in your mind when you look at a person? Because I remember when we met, we were sitting, we were having like we're drinking coffee or something. Tea is actually the green tea or matcha, something like that. And we were talking, and you were just drawing, and you would look at me, and when you fin like we barely like we're like 10, I don't know how many minutes in, you already sketched the full face of mine, and we were talking. So how do you like I think it just made me think like how do you look at people? Do you look at them in terms of shapes, in terms of like how does art come to you?
um it's actually a hard question to answer because
Yeah.
the more art comes to you,
Yeah.
I think actually the less you're going to be able to tell how it works. in a sense that I really feel embedded in my vision of arts.
Mm,
And but basically, art is what I art is what I feel.
mm,
So art is what I see. It's just the way I see. It's just the way I feel. And I'm like, for example, I'm not gonna represent something that doesn't inspire me.
mm,
I'm not gonna represent something that I feel indifferent to.
uh-huh.
Although sometimes I could if I decide that my purpose would be. It's kind of hard. Like for example, I give you what's going on now in my
Yeah.
mind. I've been trying to represent the past years, the contrast between geometrical lines and shapes, man built, for example, and organic shapes, nature, plants.
Mm,
I felt like when I was in the Philippines, for example, my wife's country, um, I've seen so many houses that are abandoned on the beach and there are coconut trees growing from there, for example. And I thought that, oh, this is such a beautiful metaphor for what I would like life to be
mm,
towards humanity, for example.
mm,
Like, do we think we're so important that the planet will die after us?
mm.
No, I think we're only gonna die and the planet will stay here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can only tell that it's the result of a statement that's been lasting for a bit more than 10 years.
Mm,
But before, I was really intrigued by eyes. I was really
mm,
watching someone in his eyes,
mm,
and I think it might have been driven by fear at some point, because when I was a kid, I would only represent bad people's faces, like in the
mm,
comic strips and stuff like
mm.
that. I see their face
Yeah.
very angry and stuff like that. I want to represent that. I don't know, because maybe it scared me and it would have been a way
Mm,
to to um to to doom it, to delete it,
yeah.
cancel it, to cancel that fear, to chase that fear.
Yeah.
So it's very often been about the eyes. It's
Interesting.
also it's also been a lot about the travels. Well, to be honest, I felt a bit rejected in France growing up and
Mm,
not really knowing that I was an artist. So that's also the reason why I started to travel a lot, because I felt like I wasn't appreciated for what I was here
mm,
at school. I was rejected. My peers rejected me very often. Like I actually realized that most of my life I was a best friend. Like I would have every year or every other year or every 5 year a
mm.
new best friend, and you
Yeah.
stick together, the two of us. But I was
Yeah.
not so much of a group person.
Yeah.
That might also have been the reason why I decided to create an art residency after that, being able to gather about 500 artists around me,
Yeah.
like that I could feel or have the illusion of being part of a group.
Yeah.
That still might not have been true. I don't know. Now I
Yeah.
have a family, so I'm really part of a group that's larger than two.
My question was, why do you feel the need to want to belong within a group, though?
I think um, it's an interesting question, but
Yeah.
Maslow answered better than I did, in the sense that it appears to him, according to his theory, this is one of our basic needs, uh, belonging to a group, next to feeding yourself and sleeping, and
Yeah.
basic human needs. You need to belong to a group in order
Yeah.
to know that what you do is being recognized and legitimate
Yeah.
towards the people that surround you.
But I'm also feeling or sensing from what you're saying too is that you're when you interact with people, what you look for is deeper connections than just surface level. Because you mentioned a lot to do with sensing people, looking into their eyes, understanding what they're feeling. And so when you talked about you wanted to gather around 500 artists, it's because you want to connect at a deeper level with them, right? I felt something like that. Um, so fix me if I'm wrong, but that's what I sensed when you're saying
I'm
it.
listening.
Yeah. um, so for me, the question here now is Do you consider yourself an empath that you really start sensing people's energies and that can reflect in an art, a piece of art, or you in general, your whole vibe towards art or what you create?
I like the word vibe. I
Mm,
think, yeah, that could definitely be something like that. That path helping energies to convey through it.
mm,
I like that. That's something that's actually enhanced with drugs. Some of them, for example, magic mushrooms. They help
yeah,
you seek the where the energy is. But it's of course something that you don't need to reach uh, using so-called drugs. You
yeah,
can also have that meditative state
uh-huh,
by contemplating or breathing
uh,
or painting or doing capoeira or whatever. But that's actually
mm,
complementary vision that helped me really understand that
yeah,
what we are attracted to is life.
yeah.
It's weird,
Yeah.
but really sometimes you don't realize it. You're just gonna watch somewhere and it has no direct clue, but something in your guts tell you not to go because it smells death.
Mm,
It smells something that's rotting. It smells something that is not evolving and burgeoning
mm,
and flowering and etc.
mm.
So, but this is basically what I like to the side that I like to be on.
So for you, like you did mention like early on, like going back to your childhood and like not being accepted and appreciated within your peers, um, and then like going into university, trying different things out. And what were your like parents or your immediate family's thoughts of you deciding to leave this corporate world vibe into going and living off your art of travel, and like how do you even manage to balance or to keep yourself going with now having a family and funding your travels? Like how do you make this all work and happen?
Okay, so um, how I guess the effort has to be consistent,
Mm,
and then the output is not. But you have to get into a rhythm that's gonna allow you to have some slack and those flat moments, those slopey moments that nothing happens. You have to be able to endure them
mm-hmm,
so that um, you keep rolling. Luckily, I'm past that stage
uh-huh,
because I've like 13 years of career. My work has already been recognized.
uh-huh,
I already had the chance to encounter a number of collectors that buy from me on a basis that allows me to live from it. And since the beginnings, so it's been
mm,
13 years that art is my single job, and I'm very lucky and very blessed for it.
mm-hmm,
I owe it to many different aspects. I think studying uh, business was not that much of a failure because I had a little bit of business statements to help me um, just being a professional,
mm,
just as well as communication did, advertising, sorry, because I kind of do know how to advertise on my work, and I
mm,
kind of know how to be a salesperson. I wouldn't do it at the beginning. I remember myself saying,
yeah,
I don't want to sell my art. I want to, like, my art has quality. I want it to sell by itself.
yeah,
No, it's no quality unless you show it
well,
to other people
yeah,
and show them why, or it actually has to speak for itself.
yeah,
But not even like so. One very precise argument, for example, my dad told me, you have to print yourself some brochures and give them wherever you go. Tell everybody you're a painter.
yeah,
that and sometimes you hate to be put on the spot, especially when you're not comfortable and confident about your talent and everything. I knew that since I was a kid, and that's something that helps also. Like everybody from my family and my friends would make me understand that I was one of the best in their surroundings at drawings.
yeah,
So I already had that confidence in me.
yeah,
But transforming this into work is kind of hard.
yeah.
I guess I just kept consistent, even though you couldn't really tell that's one of my qualities. But I think it, like, I still managed in a way, in my own way, to remain consistent in my workload. Like I work every day for a number of hours.
Yeah.
Communication, posting, skyblogs before
Yeah.
websites, then Facebook, then Instagram, like being in touch with all the new technologies and everything, and traveling. Like traveling, I know that, like for example, at the beginning I would do at my own expenses
Yeah.
and try to go places like China. I got robbed. I didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
Uh, where else? Like Vietnam, I didn't sell anything either. Japan, I didn't sell much.
Mm.
And after Thailand, I sold a ton.
So do
And
you
finally,
carry your art with you? Like you said, you carry your art with you as you travel?
well, usually what I did is I think most of the artists don't do that. But
Yeah.
what I did is like everything that's forbidden, you go to the gallery and you show them your work. And these guys are like, no, man, we don't want you to do this. We want to pick our artists, and we want our artists to be so good that they're going to be like, we're going to see them, we're going to be able to see them before they see us or something.
Yeah.
That's not really what happened, but I didn't care. Like I would be bashed every time almost, or 90% of the times. No, sorry, sir, we were not interested. Oh no, we don't look for artists now. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you should take an appointment. No,
Yeah.
I don't take appointment. I don't have time to take appointment. I don't my brain doesn't function like that.
Mm.
And I'm sorry for that. I still respect you. But let me just give you what I'm able to give right now.
Yeah.
That's all I can give. If you can't take it, it's all right.
Yeah.
I'll go on to the other one.
Yeah.
But I knew that if you have confidence, if you have a talent, it's only a matter of point of sale.
Yeah.
Those people are used to sell something. Those people are not. So you have to find the right people for your product. And then there's a little bit of fame mechanism and thing and
Mm.
seduction and all that you have to make people talk about. That's the role of a advertising agency or agent or someone, I don't know, someone a bit uh, someone that wants to reflect something positive from his friends, like, hey,
Mm.
look, I just brought a cool artist, you can get his works,
Yeah.
and this person will benefit from the image that the artist give to his crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a bit about understanding all these mentalities and keep on believing a lot to your own struggle.
I have a question here. I think for you, first of all, having a family and supportive system that is telling you that you're really good and encouraging you is important. And then you knew from such a young age that you wanted to be an artist. And when you listen to other artists as well, you hear them say this as well. Like, I knew I was different. I knew that art represented me. I knew that I wanted my art to be expressive, to heal people, to connect people, to do something, right? But what about the people who are not yet sure of what they're good at? So you knew you could draw, but what people are not sure of what they're good at, they never got the chance to explore it. They didn't have, let's say, supportive families. They're now stuck in corporate jobs that does not allow them to tap within and figure out, right? There's a lot of people, especially nowadays, and having a lot of people also like message regarding this topic, and everyone's talking about like the mid-age crisis, and the quarter life crisis, and then whatever point they're reaching this point of confusion of they're not in flow with life, there's something missing. What advice or what thoughts come up when to give someone with regards to like knowing at least, okay, this is what I stand for. I want to go all in on this and not keep changing per se, and to give it my all.
Yeah,
Mm.
open up to new challenges and new opportunities. It's actually a blessing in a way that you haven't found it yet, because you're still open to everything on earth. Like you could potentially find yourself passionate about fashion, uh, architecture, sports, whatever. If you haven't
Mm-hmm.
found it, it just means like it doesn't actually decrease the interest that you could have towards anything.
Mm.
You just have to uh, raise up your nose and start sniffing around.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is like trying to figure out or look for things that you're passionate about and going after them. Okay. So
Yeah,
let's say now I'm passionate. Let's say me an example. I'm passionate about singing. I go give singing a try, and then what? Like how does a passion towards something then turn into a purpose or turn into this is what I want to do in life. This is what represents me. This is who I am.
yeah. Well, I guess then after is just adjusting to the other um, things that you necessities that have to be dealt with in your own life. So if I need to eat, which is the case with most of the human species, except for the people who meditate for a very long time at a high level,
Yeah.
but most of the people need to eat and earn money for that. Except if you exchange goods. I mean, again, there's so many systems,
Mm,
but still, like if you have a hint that you could be so good that it could be your sole activity, and that people, and that's actually the when you're gonna realize it, is that
mm,
people want to get a little piece of it. In exchange, they're able to give you money.
mm,
You just have to organize that. Like, is this going to be a passion,
mhm.
and will it remain so if I can't make money out of it? In
Yeah.
this case, you can still do it nights and weekend.
Mhm.
If not, if you want to go further, you just have to risk it. Like I was saying earlier, it's important to have a risk culture, because nothing happens without risk taken.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Like what or who inspires you?
Well, at the moment, I'm inspired by a dark person, but I actually like the fact that he accepts the dark sides of him.
Mhm.
Like, he doesn't put himself on a pedestal, yet has a very intense and vibrant lifestyle.
Mhm.
I like his personality. I like how he accepts his own failures, his own drawbacks. His name
Mhm.
is Cho David, I think. He's an American artist, Korean origin. He's one of the few that inspired me. Actually, inspired by a lot of people around me.
Mhm.
This guy, I don't even know him. I'm just talking for someone that I've seen in the press. But
Mhm.
otherwise, I'm inspired by lots of people. I'm inspired by my best friends, because he's he's become a farmer, and he's done that even though he doesn't make a lot of money out of it. But he's
Mhm.
just doing this by passion, and I think
Mhm.
that's admirable. And I
Mhm.
love you, Nico. I fucking love you, my bro. I love everyone around me that does something that they like. And I like, of course, I I have this special inclination for artists, because they express the same way I do. So
Mhm.
of course we speak the same language,
Yeah.
but more generally speaking, the language from the heart.
Yeah.
So people who express themselves with their heart and stay true, in a
Mhm.
sense. Well, for example, in the sense that I didn't like the teachers to yell at me when I was a kid, or I came with my hair red and he forced me to wash it in the cold water during winter. And I fucking hated it for that.
Yeah.
I felt in my head, in my mind, if I was an adult, I would punch you.
Yeah.
But I could not, because I was under this whole influential system, the rules and everything. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to abide to blindly. But I could, like, even 15 years later, I haven't forgiven this man. Or
Oof.
maybe I will. Maybe I should
Yeah.
release a weight.
Yeah. For yourself. Do it for yourself,
but
not for him.
but I feel it's important,
Yeah.
and again, only fools don't change their minds. So
Mm.
I hope I will. But I
Yeah.
think it's sometimes also important to stand your grounds, because you could be so easily transformed. Your will could be so easily twisted,
Mm.
whereas you deep inside know what you want.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure towards the rest of the people, towards the humanity. Um, is this good? Is this, like, for me, the importance of opening my own art center with my wife Maya
Mm-hmm.
was to make art accessible.
Mm-hmm.
One, so of course I felt like most of the people are scared to enter art galleries, and it's not the purpose. I mean, I want my art to be seen by everyone. Like, in a sense, it's cool that we produce stuff, but it has to serve, it has to communicate.
Mm.
So I wanted the artist to be in the middle of a scheme, to be in the middle of an environment that he's going to be helpful for society.
And how can a person who is creating art be helpful for society? How?
So there are many ways that we've managed to come to. First of all, is it doesn't require much effort, is being in a studio that's open to everyone.
Mm.
So I think the people will benefit from this, in a sense that they will see the process, and they will even be able to ask the artist, how do you do this? How do you
Yeah.
manage to come to that effect? Or any other more general questions about his career. And then um, we also have, of course, a number of other material to work with, such as workshops, for example.
Mm.
That we organized lots of workshops. Some were paid, some were free. Like,
Mm.
we would come to audiences that would not have access, to arts,
Mm.
and provide them with a free workshop. Or we would even organize exhibitions and then give the profit, the proceeds, to the association we would collaborate with on the for these projects, like we did with Ugnayan sa Poblacion, our art residency in Manila. We did that. Like, we sold art, we brought the collectors ourselves, we
Yeah.
sold them our art, we took 20% or 50% out of it, and we gave them to the association we were working with.
Mm.
And we're so little. We're doing our things, we're doing our projects with our own funds. And Maya, my wife, was not even paid at that time. I was, of course, never paid, but I had my income as an artist. But just to mention that we were able not only to make a living, but also run projects
Mm.
with that money from art,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
and projects that would bounce back to communities.
yeah. And what is like your biggest challenge now?
Um, I have I don't know if I have a challenge. I think the challenge would be, because I've been very extreme my whole life. So I've
Yeah.
had lots of accidents, lots of times, actually, that I might have died.
Oof.
Like, very reckless, like taking a motorbike without a helmet and having an accident, or falling from the China's Great Wall, or fighting with five people in the street to defend my friend. Like, feeling
Mm.
life a bit extreme so far, and maybe I hope I'll help rationalize all this with the new family I just created.
Mm.
It helps me being more rooted.
Yeah.
Um, so what I hope in life next is being able to be more balanced for my family, and
Yeah.
keep on being creative, keep on having the same interactions with the world that I live in, but without feeling the urge to live that extreme.
But
Maybe more balanced.
don't you think though, being an artist, because you feel things so deeply, because you kind of go to the extreme, that you're able to create art. So is it that you really want a balanced life, or more of like allowing yourself to, yes, feel the extreme, but then at the same time ground yourself back to reality quicker than the time it would have taken you before?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the most important thing is to keep my family alive,
Yeah,
and keeping growing older and older
yeah.
as time passes.
So
But
if
you're
you,
totally right.
yeah, right. I think,
Feeling
yeah,
things deeper, maybe because we're
yeah,
artists. Although
yeah,
I think most of the people has the potential of feeling things like that. Maybe expressing it, the way we express might be different to other people.
mm.
Yeah,
And sometimes people do not allow themselves to feel too, because feeling is hurts. And so whether it's whether it's happy feelings or negative feelings,
yeah,
the intensity, so like imagine like you're now on top of the world, you're super excited, you achieved a lot of things, or you focus, or whatever this thing that made you so super happy. After that very happy moment, there's going to be a crash, because the very second moment is going to be a moment that is less exciting than the last one. So even this changing from the high to a lower moment is, I mean, sometimes people can't tolerate that, or even the low moments. They don't want to allow themselves to feel, so they run away to whatever. They can go shopping, they can go eat, they just want to escape the emotion. But I think that's so powerful about artists, is that they feel it and are able to express it. And I find it very, very fascinating in different ways too. So it's
yeah.
really
That's
cool.
true. I think,
And
well, it's just up to each and every one, because of course you can be a sponge and you can absorb so many different
yeah,
emotions that it can sometimes damage you.
yeah,
So it's cool. It's okay. I mean, you just maybe maybe escape extremes, but
yeah,
if you do it rationally,
yeah,
I think it's good to escape sometimes, because
yeah,
you can't take it.
100%. I think that's where
Yeah,
boundaries are set. And that's why I really believe in like understanding yourself, understanding and being conscious in the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying, and being present in your like interactions with people. Because sometimes like you would say something and your intentions are pure, but someone else would say, no, no, you meant something else, you hurt me or whatever. And you start absorbing other people's negativity or their energy, and you just start then feeling regret of like, why did I even say it? And you just fall in the trap of um, other people and what they say you are, when in fact, when you check back with yourself, realize that no, 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 this was never my intention. Like getting back to what was in your heart, what do you stand for, and then understanding, there's certain people that I need to remove from my life, there's certain people that I need to say no to, because yes, maybe you've not done something to hurt me, but the things that you talk about, the way you talk about other people, the way you hurt other people, I don't want to be around this. It's not serving my higher consciousness, my higher beingness, and I want to eliminate that. So I think that's where a bit of it comes like in place.
is that sometimes in life when you're very open, you're gonna attract all sorts of energies,
Mm,
and sometimes also some of them can be really bad, not necessarily absolute bad, but just bad as suffering, and has to uh, expel
mm,
those sufferances. I had that. I had that. Like, to be honest, I had that many times. I had many crazy people following me to my house, or stuff like that, or threatening me, or and it can be very stressful sometimes.
yeah, of course.
But I could reconsider it part of it, part of the whole picture. I wouldn't have uh gone through that if it were not to also meet the best people on earth that would open their house. It's part of the game. I mean, you
Yeah.
play, you can win or lose. You have to be aware of this. It's just two sides of the same coin.
Mm. If you would like go back to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself as a kid?
I'll try to tell this kid, oh fuck, it makes me want to cry. I would have to tell this kid to just accept yourself, man. And if it's a bit harder, You just smile. That's it.
Mm.
Because I felt like in my childhood, there's so many times that I felt the urge of changing myself, to adapting to the others,
Mm.
whereas the others would not even they would not even they'd be reassured that they'd feel more comfortable that I look like them, but in the end it'd be poor in an exchange.
Mm.
Whereas if you're comfortable, if you show them you're happy and let them experience how different you are,
Mm.
I guess that's the best thing in life, because we were both going to benefit from mutual differences.
Mm. But not everyone is open to that, though. Like, you're open to appreciating other people's differences. Other people would try to criticize you until you change and become
Yeah.
like them to be
So
accepted.
that's why I said that the second part would be
Yeah.
and smile whether it's working or not.
Yeah.
If it's not, you're just conscious for yourself that you've done it.
Yes.
You acted in a way that would encourage exchange.
Yeah.
And if it did not happen, it's not on you, it's on them.
100%. 100%. And the final question is, what does success mean to you?
Finding your Simply finding your place.
Mm.
Success is when you reach this stage where you're he's the plumber. Yeah, he's a good plumber. He's a not yeah, that's the carpenter. He did the Jonas bar. It's a good bar, or his good roof. Oh yeah, he's a good painter. He paints. He's a good portraitist. Like people who make a portrait for, I think he captures his soul. Like in a way, he doesn't really know. He doesn't necessarily knows that person experiences, but I think he might have captured the residue of all those condensed experiences and shown it on his eyes on his portrait or something like that. Like, depending on the definition of all those different notions, but that's
Mm.
mine as far as an artist is concerned.
Amazing. Amazing. I had a few more questions come up, but I think we'll end it now.
Yeah.
It took so much time. But again, thank you so much, Henry, for your time.
Thank
Really,
you.
really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Of course. And for
Me too.
everyone listening, I hope you have an amazing, awesome rest of your day.